All right, so get this. We're diving into some claims of electronic harassment today,
Oh, okay.
but not the usual kind.
Not your
Not
typical.
your run-of-the-mill, no.
Okay.
Our source thinks, get this, they think their drywall is the culprit.
Really? They're drywall, huh? That's a new one.
Yeah, they're claiming it's been modified, like someone messed with it and stuck some kind of device in there.
Interesting. Definitely an unusual case.
Yeah, and to make things even weirder, our only source here, like the only thing we have to go on is this audio recording.
Just audio?
Yeah, just audio of this person, the source, like examining what they think is proof, evidence of something.
Okay, so we're going full detective mode then.
Exactly. Got to analyze this recording and try to figure out what's real and what's, maybe a little out there.
I'm in.
So our source is saying we found this material, this fluorescent material, embedded in their drywall.
Fluorescent.
Yeah, and it gets crazier. Hold on. They think these things, whatever they are acting as EMP emitters.
Emitter, huh? Yeah, I've heard that one before.
Have you really?
Yeah, it pops up every now and then, but the science behind it, well, let's just say it can get a little fuzzy.
Fuzzy how?
Well, to really get what we're dealing with here, we should probably, break down EMPs themselves.
Like EMP 101? Okay, I'm with you.
So, what do you know about EMPs? I mean, what comes to mind?
Okay, so EMP, that stands for electromagnetic pulse, right?
Right.
And I kind of have this idea that it's like this burst of energy that can, like, fry electronics.
Okay, not bad.
But honestly, most of what I know is from, like, sci-fi movies.
You're not that far off, actually.
Really?
Yeah, an EMP basically is a sudden, really intense surge of electromagnetic energy.
Okay.
And this energy, it can mess with electronic circuits, disrupt them or even completely damage them.
So like a massive power surge, like when your computer gets fried.
Exactly. Just think of it like that, but way bigger, more intense.
Okay, got it.
Now, these EMPs, they don't just come from thin air. There are natural ones.
Natural ones like what?
Like lightning strikes, those can produce EMPs.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then there are the man-made ones.
Okay, those sound more like what we see in the movies.
Yeah, you're thinking nuclear explosions, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, those can do it, but there are also, in theory at least, specialized electronic devices that could generate them too.
So that brings us back to our source and their EMP emitters in the drywall.
Right, back to the drywall.
Is that even possible? I mean, could you really have a device that small? Like small enough to stick in drywall? And could it actually make, a targeted EMP?
That's where it gets tricky. I mean, theoretically, yeah, it's not impossible to make a device that can generate a localized EMP.
Localized, meaning like just in a small area.
Exactly. But the tech to do that, it's pretty high level, not something you're going to whip up in your basement.
Okay, that makes sense. And to actually affect electronics, I guess you'd need a serious power source too, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. You need some juice to make a noticeable EMP, something that could actually mess with electronics.
So we're not talking about some tiny little thing running on batteries.
No, not likely.
Okay, so no tiny battery-powered EMP hidden behind the paint.
To get an EMP strong enough to even disrupt, let's say, a small electronic device, you'd need a lot of energy, way more than you could fit in, a standard piece of drywall.
Okay, that's helpful. So EMPs themselves, not crazy, but these EMP emitters in drywall, well, that starts to sound a little less believable.
Yeah, the more we get into the details, the less likely it seems.
Right. All right, so let's get back to our sources recording. They start off very carefully describing the evidence bag they have.
Evidence bag.
Yeah, they're giving the date, the time, even the exact spot where they got this drywall sample. I mean, they're really specific about it.
Interesting. Sounds like they're trying to be super thorough, maybe trying to make it all seem, legitimate.
Yeah, almost like they're thinking people won't believe them.
Could be, but let's stick to the evidence for now.
Okay, what exactly did they find in this drywall sample?
That's what we need to figure out.
Well, they say they found fluorescent material, and they're going to use, get this, black lights.
Lights, classic.
Before we get into that, though, could you give us a quick rundown on fluorescence itself? Like, what causes it?
Sure. So fluorescence, it's actually a pretty cool phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically what happens is a substance absorbs light, but at one wavelength, and then it re-emits that light at a longer wavelength.
A longer wavelength. What does that even mean?
Okay, think of it this way. You shine a black light, which is emitting ultraviolet light, UV light, onto something. If that thing has certain molecules in it, those molecules will absorb the UV light.
Okay.
But then we release it as visible light, the kind we can see, and that's what creates that glow.
So it's like the material is changing invisible light into visible light.
Exactly. It's transforming it.
That's wild. And this fluorescence thing, it has a lot of uses, right?
Ton. They use it to detect counterfeit money. And in labs to make biological samples glow so they can study them.
Wow, I had no idea.
Pretty versatile.
Okay, back to our drywall mystery then.
Back to the drywall.
Our source is now using different types of black lights on this drywall.
Okay.
And they keep going on about this ring of fluorescence they're seeing on the surface.
Ring of fluorescence, that's specific.
Yeah, and they're making a big deal about how visible it is, even when the black lights are off.
They're really focused on documenting all of this.
Yeah, like they're expecting someone to say they made it up.
It's like they're playing detective themselves, building a case.
But what could explain this ring shape? I mean, is that something that just happens naturally, or does it have to be, deliberate?
That's the million-dollar question. Fluorescence itself, that we understand, but this pattern and the whole context, it does raise some interesting possibilities.
So it's not just about whether there is fluorescence, but what it might mean.
Exactly. Gotta look at everything, the whole picture.
All right, so we've got a source who's convinced their drywall has emitters, and this ring of fluorescence is their proof.
Right.
But we also know making a real EMP device isn't easy.
Not at all.
So what do you make of all this? I mean, where do we even start?
It's a puzzle, that's for sure. We've got a claim that sounds pretty far-fetched, technologically speaking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, our source is going about this in a very careful, very detailed way.
So what, are they on to something, or?
It's like we're at a fork in the road. One path leads to a simple explanation. The other path leads to something a lot more complicated, maybe even a little unsettling.
So which path do we take?
I guess we'll have to see where the evidence leads us.
And that's what we'll be doing in the next part of our deep dive. Stay tuned, because this drywall mystery, it's just getting started. All right, so we're back, still digging into this whole drywall mystery.
Still trying to figure out if these EMP emitters are real or not.
Right, and we were talking about how building one of these EMP devices, especially one small enough to hide in drywall, well, that takes some serious tech.
Definitely not a DIY project.
Not at all. So we've got this ring of fluorescence that our source is so focused on.
Right, they documented it very carefully.
But the question is, what does it actually mean? Could it really be, like, proof of something shady? Or is there a simpler explanation?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Okay, so let's play detective here. What are some things that could cause fluorescence, like in a regular house? Nothing fancy.
Well, there are certain minerals, they just naturally fluoresce under UV light, like a black light.
Okay.
For example, some types of calcite, which you find in limestone, they can fluoresce.
And limestone, that's in building materials, right?
Exactly. It's common in drywall.
So maybe the fluorescence our source is seeing, it's just like a natural part of the drywall itself.
That's definitely possible. We can't rule it out.
Okay, but what about, like, stuff added during manufacturing? Could that cause fluorescence?
Oh, absolutely. Certain additives, coatings, things like that might contain fluorescent compounds.
So we've got natural sources, manufacturing stuff. Anything else?
Don't forget about environmental factors.
Environmental?
Yeah, like over time, sunlight, moisture, even some cleaning products, they can change the drywall's makeup, chemically speaking, and they might lead to fluorescence.
So we've got a ton of possibilities here. Everything from, like, totally natural to stuff that happened during building, or even just from the environment.
It's a pretty wide range.
How do we narrow it down? I mean, how can we figure out the actual cause in this case?
That's the tricky part. Without actually testing the drywall sample, it's hard to say for sure.
Right.
But that's also what makes this deep dive so interesting. We have to use what we know, what we observe, and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Okay, so we're doing some guesswork here, but even if the fluorescence isn't natural or from manufacturing or the environment, would that automatically mean something bad is going on?
Good question. There could be other reasons why someone might add fluorescent material to drywall. Intentionally,
Like, not for some evil purpose.
right, maybe there's a practical reason, some use for fluorescence that we haven't thought of.
So let's say someone did add it on purpose. What are some good reasons they might do that?
Well, fluorescence is used a lot for marking things, for identification.
Like labels.
Kinda. It's possible it's an indicator of some sort, maybe related to building codes, safety regulations, or even just to keep track of things during construction.
So it could be as simple as builders marking different sections of drywall.
Could be, and fluorescence is used in art too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it's part of some decorative element, something under the paint that you only see with a black light.
Like an inflorescent mural? That's pretty cool.
Right. It just shows that we got to keep an open mind here, not jump to conclusions.
Okay, but our source, they're pretty convinced that something's wrong, that this is all part of some plan to target them.
I understand where they're coming from.
But as we get saying, there are other explanations that don't involve, some evil scheme.
And it's important to remember, just because two things happen together doesn't mean one caused the other.
So just because our source feels targeted and found this fluorescent material doesn't automatically mean those things are connected.
Exactly. Sometimes the simplest explanation is the right one.
Right, like don't assume it's a zebra when it might just be a horse.
In this case, the fluorescent material, that could be the horse, something normal, something explainable. But our source, they seem to be looking for zebras.
It's like they're wanting to find something more exciting.
And that's where it gets really interesting, because it tells us about perception, about how we see things, how we interpret the world around us.
So while we're trying to be objective, we also have to consider the human element, the psychology involved.
Absolutely. What our source believes, what motivates them, that's just as important as the science of fluorescence or the tech behind EMPs.
So we've got two mysteries here, the mystery of the drywall and the mystery of our source's mindset.
And to solve the whole puzzle, we got to look at both.
Okay, so we've talked about fluorescence, about EMPs, about why someone might add fluorescent material to drywall. What's next? Where do we go from here?
Well, we need to look closer at what our source is saying. They've given us some details that we haven't really explored yet.
So back to the audio recording then.
Yep, let's see what other clues we can find. There might be something in there that helps us crack this whole thing wide open.
All right, so here we are back again, still trying to solve this drywall mystery.
We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? Fluorescence, EMPs, you name it.
We have, but we still don't have a clear answer, do we?
Nope, not yet. And that's what I love about these cases. It really makes you think, really weigh the evidence, consider things that might seem a little out there at first.
It's definitely been a challenge, trying to balance, not dismissing our sources' claims, but also trying to find explanations that make sense, scientifically speaking.
And I think we've done a good job of that. I mean, we've learned a lot along the way about fluorescence, about EMPs, about all the things that could be causing what our source is seeing.
Yeah, we have, but now it's time to go back to that audio recording, see if there are any more clues hidden in there.
Yeah, let's see what else our source has to say.
They've been really thorough in documenting everything, and there are a few details they keep coming back to, things that seem really important to them.
I noticed that too. They're very specific about the date, the time, what tools they used, even the temperature of the room.
It's almost like they're preparing for someone to question them, to challenge their findings.
Like they're building a case, anticipating that someone might not believe them.
Exactly, and that makes you wonder, who are they trying to convince? Themselves? Someone else? Or maybe even some imaginary enemy?
It's an interesting question, isn't it? What makes someone go to such lengths to document something like this?
It's almost like an obsession,
Yeah, there's definitely a psychological element at play here.
Okay, let's listen to this next part. Our source is talking about a piece of drywall that broke off, and they say they can see fluorescence inside the material now.
Oh, that's new. Before it was just on the surface, right?
Right, and they're saying that the fluorescence inside is fainter than the ring they saw on the edge.
That could be significant. If there really is some added material causing this fluorescence, then how it's distributed within the drywall could give us clues about what it's for.
So if it's stronger on the surface, maybe it was applied as a coating?
Yeah, something like that. But if it's also inside, even if it's fainter, well, that might mean it was mixed into the drywall itself, when it was made.
But couldn't the difference in intensity just be because of, how light works? Maybe the angle of the black light, or how thick the drywall is, or even just dusk. Could that affect things?
Absolutely. Those are all possibilities. It shows how tricky it is to interpret this stuff without proper scientific analysis.
We're relying on our sources' eyes, on their perception.
And perception can be a tricky thing, easily influenced.
Yeah, that's true. We're seeing this all through their lens. Yeah.
Which is why critical thinking is so important here, separating what they actually observed from how they're interpreting it.
Okay, so where does that leave us? We've got a source who believes their drywall has been messed with, that there's this fluorescent material in it.
Right.
And they're convinced it's part of some kind of, malicious scheme, maybe even targeted harassment.
We've considered a lot of different angles: natural fluorescence, manufacturing corpse, even art. We haven't completely ruled out intentional modification, but making an EMP device, especially one you could hide in drywall, that's a tall order, technologically speaking.
So what's the bottom line? What have we learned from all this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the world is full of mysteries, and even the most everyday objects can hold secrets.
Like drywall.
Exactly, like drywall. But it's our job to approach these mysteries with curiosity, but also with a healthy dose of skepticism, to look for evidence, to consider different perspectives.
We may never know for sure what's going on with our source's drywall.
That's true.
But this whole process, this deep dive, it's been a good reminder that there's always more to learn, always more to explore.
And sometimes the journey is just as important as the destination.
Well said. And who knows, maybe this deep dive will inspire someone out there to take a closer look at their own world, question the things they take for granted, maybe even uncover their own little mysteries.
I hope so.
That's all for this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for listening.